Hey everyone, if you joined us a few weeks ago, we had a video talking about Parks and Rec and all of the amazing facilities that they've built over the years, many years in fact. But there is so much more to Park and Rec than just their amazing facilities. So today we bring you part 2, which really has more to do with their parks and their programs and why they're so popular that they crash websites. Now I must say that Bend Parks and Rec has some of the most incredible parks. Big parks, little parks, some in between, parks on the water, parks in the trees, some are just playgrounds, some are sports fields, some are just nature areas, and some can be any combination of any or all of these things. Don't worry, we're gonna go ahead and show you what we're talking about in just a minute, but for now, let's just look at some numbers here. I don't know who really made this decision or if it was even a decision that was made, but it almost seems like someone long ago thought that there should just be a park for everyone or every neighborhood in town so that anyone and everyone can have access to a park within a really short walk. Because that's kind of what it's like. And it's a really great system, in fact. Any neighborhood that gets planned usually is required by the city to set aside some land in the overall plot of the neighborhood for green space. And generally what the builders do is they just take that green space, because what else are they gonna do with it? And they just give it to Park and Rec to develop into a park, of course. I mean, ultimately because it adds value for it to be a park in the first place, right? So then BPRD, Bend Parks and Rec Department, we'll just call BPRD for now. It's a little bit easier than saying Parks and Rec all the time. They get the land and they get a good sized chunk of every property's new construction homes system development charge. It's a fee that goes with every single home that is being built upon. So they get a chunk of the SDCs that funds the park build out, along with, tax dollars and stuff like that. Anyway, point is, years ago, I believe there was a number that I had. I don't know if it was just on their website or if you could literally count them all, but at one point in time, I knew the number. It was in the high 80s. I'll just go ahead and say that there are over 80 parks in the city limits in Bend, Oregon. That is bonkers. 80 divided by, like 100,000 people? There's a park for every 1,000 people in town, which, that kind of sounds like a good number, but I don't know where you're from. That's a lot of parks for a town of this size. That's insane. And these parks are so vastly different and unique from each other. It's not just like every park has a soccer field and a playground. They've got all kinds of stuff. There's so many different things to do at the parks here in Bend that they have a website, well, obviously the Bend Park BPRD website, where you can sort out which parks based upon amenity. You can sort out whether or not it's on the river, or whether it has a dog park, or a playground, or horseshoes, or tennis, ball fields, restrooms, seasonal versus year-round. Heck, whether or not it has a fishing area or a nature area, walking trails, a water play feature, AKA splash pad. It's bananas. They've got everything. Okay, so now really quickly, I'll just give you a few of my favorite parks. This is not by any means a top best parks in Bend. This is just different parks that I like that, kind of have a little special meaning to me for various reasons. Pirate Boat Park, AKA Columbia Park. This one's really great because it has a really cool playground that includes a boat/pirate ship, I guess you'd call it. Look, it's not incredible by any means, but when my kids were younger, they loved the boat park, the Pirate Boat Park. And because it's on the water in the Old Bend area and there's a bridge that takes you across the river, it's just a really great area and it's really fun. There's people floating by all summer long. It's a cool park to go to, Discovery Park. The focal point here is the large body of water there, the large pond. I wouldn't venture so much to call it a lake, but it's pretty good size. Then of course there's the park. This park's big. There's a ton of grass, a covered pavilion, off-leash dog park, a community garden, and it's right in the most desirable neighborhood in Bend. Northwest Crossing. Pine Nursery. Pine Nursery might actually be my favorite. There's just so much to do here. It's home to tons of baseball fields and soccer fields. Heck, it's like 159 acres. It's huge. Just lots of fields, both grass and artificial turf. There's a playground there, there's pickleball, there's volleyball, disc golf, off-leash dog park, huge off-leash dog park, and finally, a trout pond. There's just a lot going on there. It's a really great park. Tons of trails all over the place. Yeah, I've said enough. It's one of my faves. Alpenglow. You know, Alpenglow is actually kind of similar. It's just on the southeast side of town versus the northeast side of town. Except for scratch all the ball fields. They don't really have the ball fields as much. But then you get to add in cool things like a much bigger nature area. There's a splash pad there and a rock climbing kind of bouldering area, which is really cool as well. Then of course, you know, dog park, nature trails, the whole jazz there. Drake Park / Harmon Park. Okay, this has to be on the list because it's just the OG. I mean, this is Ben's Park. Just around the corner from downtown, it is right on the Deschutes River and doesn't really have anything super special going on with it, except for that it's on the river. There's a lot of grass. There's a lot of really big mature trees right there along the river corridor there. But it's so peaceful and tranquil, and it's right in the heart of town. Then of course, if you do need that playground or if you do need that ball field, right across the footbridge, across the river is Harmon Park. Again, it's great. There's a playground, ballparks. It's kind of a 2-for-1 because if you're at Drake, all you get to do is go across the river. You're at Harmon Park. It's not technically a package deal, but it might as well be. All right, so now let's talk about programs. Now this might kind of divulge here into a can of worms. I'm gonna try not to ramble here too much, but BPRD absolutely dominates programs and programming. And when I say that, I mean, you know, if you're looking to get your kid into anything, any sort of activity, I mean, literally from like watercolor classes to playing lacrosse, BPRD has it. They offer everything. If there's some sort of need in the community, they will fill it. We've already talked in the last video about the swim center, and actually multiple, because they've got 2 different swim centers. BPRD offers swimming lessons to children en masse. Our kids have been taking swim lessons for them for years. Granted, we only go in the summer, so it's taken a little while to get through it all, but whole generations of Bendites have learned to swim through BPRD's swim lessons. But then, that's not even remotely scratching the surface of everything that they offer. That just happens to be kind of a staple. They have all kinds of other classes, from fitness and wellness, from arts and crafts to photography, even more random stuff like learning to play pinochle, learning to weld, how to make a pie. Yeah, BPRD is practically a college where you can go to learn and sample life, really. They even provide childcare for after school or during the summertime when school's out. Now, I'm kind of a jock myself, love sports, big sports guy, and I'm competitive to boot. Parks and Rec offers almost all of the different kinds of sports leagues in town for kids, at least recreationally, of course. If you want to play soccer, basketball, football, hockey, lacrosse, just everything, it's here. The soccer program is probably the largest. Everyone, it seems, not literally, not really, but everyone, it seems, plays BPRD Soccer League in the fall. If you're new to town, you want to give your kids an opportunity to maybe meet some friends, the soccer program is probably one of the best places to do that, because generally what they do is they take all the kids from a particular school and put them all on the same team. So in my case, currently right now, there are 3 kids groups, 3 teams that are all made up of kids from my kids' school. So kids get to play with all the other kids from their class. Again, it's a great way for new kids to meet friends at the very beginning of the school year. Except for, here's the thing. You have to be on it, really on top of it. History lesson for you. BPRD used to send out a catalog, like a guidebook. Because like I said, there's so much to do that they literally have a book that you can flip through. They used to send this out 3 or 4 times per year in the mail to residents of Bend. So you would get the book, you'd flip through it, you know, kind of highlight the events that, you know, the activities that maybe you wanted your kid to be a part of, or things that you wanted to do, programs that you wanted to do. And then when that registration for that next season opened up, you would either go online or call in or just walk down to the district office and register for those particular events. And so over the years, the system has evolved, and kind of so has society, right? Until one day, everything got kind of so busy and so popular that you kind of had to start setting an alarm. And when that day registration opened, you had to get it for certain events. You had to get in there and register right away on the website, like the day it opens. And that was kind of the clue that what was about to happen next was going to be a problem, because then COVID happened and everything was shut down. And when things opened back up, by that point, everybody was accustomed to just going online. And so literally what they did was they actually stopped producing the guidebook. And I don't know exactly why. I would assume it has something to do with the cost to produce them and to mail them to every resident in Bend. But the guidebook went away around the same time, I would say, as COVID, although don't quote me, I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, this is story time, just bear with me here. They stopped doing the guidebook. You had to go online to find all of your programs. You had a cart, you could save it to the cart. And so now you're getting email reminders, and now you know, because it's been this way, that you've got to be right on top of it. And so coming out of COVID, when things finally opened back up, it got kind of crazy trying to register for programs and classes. BPRD had staffing issues, so they weren't able to offer as many things. And when they opened it up, they would open up a whole season of recreational opportunities, whether it's going into summer, going to winter, spring, fall, whatever it is, and things filled up instantly. So for 2 years, I'd say, opening day of a particular season, everything would sell out or fill up immediately, and so many people went to the website on opening day or opening morning, in fact, to get their spot, that it crashed the system. It was a disaster. Not only that, but I mean, there were limited classes to begin with. We really have two different problems here. One of them was everybody went to the website at once coming out of COVID, and it crashed the website. But also, two, they had limited options because of staffing issues and staffing concerns, and there just weren't enough classes for them to offer anyway. A lot of people didn't get into the classes that they wanted. As an example, I've probably mentioned this a few times in other videos, but I'm a big hockey guy. I love to play. I've been playing my whole life, coaching, playing the whole thing. And for our men's kind of adult league in town, the ice hockey league, there are roughly 300 spots available just because of ice constraints and times in the leagues and the way it works out. Well, I have to set an alarm. Every hockey player in Bend, if you don't know this and you're watching this and you're a hockey player in Bend, if you don't know this, well, pro tip, you need to set your alarm for the very morning that the program opens up, and you need to register within the first hour. Otherwise you're not getting in the league. It's crazy. 300 spots fill up like that, and then there's hundreds, plural, on the wait list. And that's the only adult league for the year to play ice hockey, so if you don't get in, it sucks. All that to say, if you're new to town, you want to get involved in Parks and Rec programs, look for the next session that's getting ready to open up and be right on top of it, either for you or your kids, because space is limited in most of these programs. Another pro tip / an FYI, Parks and Rec doesn't actually run all of the programs that they offer. Sometimes they partner with other organizations that provide their own programming, and they basically help get the word out there to the public. I mean, like I said before, everybody used to get the guidebook, and now it seems like everybody goes to the website. So for example, there is a privately owned indoor soccer center here in town, and they will run their leagues and their programs in the BPRD, on the BPRD platform, and take registrations through there. Because their website's got all kinds of reach, and there's some people that don't know about the indoor soccer center, but they do know about Park and Rec. So they find it there, take the class at the soccer center, and happy days. New customers for everybody. However, I will say that if you do happen to find a program that you like that is not a BPRD program, after you've kind of found it, you might want to go directly to their website to register for classes moving forward, because Park and Rec does take a cut of the registration fee, and I'm just kind of more of a fan of supporting the privately funded companies versus the subsidized, BPRD, if you know what I mean. Anyway, there you have it. Bend Parks and Rec is an absolute giant here in Central Oregon. I could still go on and on about Park and Rec, but we're kind of up against time here, so we'll just depart with this. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you learned something here. And if you're new to town, this gives you a little bit of an insight as to how to get into the programs and how to enjoy all the parks here in Central Oregon. Remember, if you or somebody you know is looking to buy or sell here in the Central Oregon area, my team and I would love to be your local real estate resource of choice. You can reach out to us at KrommRealEstate.com, or we'd love to connect somewhere on Instagram. You can find us there at Kromm Real Estate. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you over in the next video.